Hi! It is time to spend a few minutes learning about tap dancing. Do you ever find yourself thinking about why something is the way it is? Often we tend to accept things as the way they are. Canadians like hockey. We use cars to get places. Pizza is a very common food. But why? I asked this question in regards to tap dancing, and I dug up some interesting information. So let's go back in time, shall we? Tap dancing originated when two cultures in the United States collided. Because of immigration and slavery, the dancing styles of Irish step dancers came into contact with a special form of African dance called the juba. These were the two most prominent ancestors of tap dancing. The African slaves incorporated the quick heel and toe action of the Irish dancers into their step dances. The Irish dances took on a more rhythmic feel and fluidity, and thus, tap was beginning to form as a uniquely American dance genre. What an unexpected clash of cultures! Tap dancing did not gain very much attention until the late 1800s. At this time, black and white dancers were not allowed to perform on stage together. In minstrel shows, which were the most popular form of entertainment in the mid-1800s, white dancers would blacken their face and, to make the audience laugh, would mock slave dancing. Oddly enough, this eventually caused the birth of a type of performance where black dancers would imitate Irish dancers who imitated them. A very unique start to an incredible dance form. At this time, tap dancing wasn't yet tap dancing, if that makes sense. There weren't actual taps on the shoes yet. An important year that marked a change in tap dance was 1882. During that year, Thomas Rice wanted to add noise to his movement, so he added metallic soles to his shoes. Other dancers followed suit, and the art of tap dancing spread quickly. Now, to tap dance without metallic soles is simply called soft shoe dancing. Before Thomas added metallic soles, some dancers had pounded nails or pennies into the toes and heels of their shoes for extra sound while dancing. Around 1900, the term tap was popularized. By the 1920s, the metal plates that were attached to the shoe bottoms of the leather-soled shoes worn by tap dancers were commonly known as taps. These metal plates on the toes and the heels of these tap shoes are what I'm referring to when I say tap. Well, taps in reference to the things that aren't shoes. Tap is also the style of dance we're talking about, but I think you know what I mean. Pretty cool, huh? They get screwed on so that they're firmly attached to the shoe. There were different styles of tap dancing forming in the early 1900s. So we've moved from the 1800s, where it's just starting to form and taps were being put on the bottom of shoes, into the 1900s. Teams of black dancers were becoming popular because of their acrobatic and satirical tap style. John Bubbles, a black tapper, had a different style. It was slower and syncopated, using offbeat sounds. Because of its rhythmic complexity, jazz music also created a unique style of tap called rhythmic tap. Underground speakeasy clubs were created in response to the prohibition laws of the early 1900s. We don't have those laws anymore, which is nice because that means I can enjoy a little bit of white wine as I tell you about the history and art of tap dancing. At the clubs, white audiences would enjoy entertainment performed by black dancers. Tap was becoming more popular, and the performances were becoming more and more exciting, involving acrobatic feats. Going against societal expectations, a tap dancer named Bill Bojangles Robinson decided to go on a solo tour. Note, he was black. This was very rare for an African American to do in the early 20th century. Interestingly, Jim Crow laws at the time did not allow black dancers on stage with white dancers unless they were acting as servants and they were on stage with children. So, Bojangles landed a role as Shirley Temple's servant. Largely because of this role, he became America's most famous tap dancer. I hope you're still all with me because there's more exciting tap information coming at you. So, we're still in the 1900s. Tap dancing was still popular in the 1930s and 1940s. Some well-known dancers from that era include Fred Astaire, Paul Draper, and Ray Bolger. All three of those men were white, interestingly enough. So a unique thing occurred. As the big screen increased in popularity, white tapping entertainers gained popularity, and many incredible black tap dancers were paid no attention. The authentic Afro-American jazz of the time was losing steam. The tap dancing in films was highly choreographed, and they added the tapping sounds in after filming. Another phenomenon in the 30s was the emergence of flash tap. This involved tap dancing with remarkable tricks incorporated into the routines, such as jumping down from a platform from 10 feet high, landing in the splits, and bouncing right back up to continue tapping, right on key. The most well-known tappers who used flash techniques in their dancing were a set of African-American brothers known as the Nicholas Brothers. A major historical event influenced tap in a big way. In fact, this event influenced most aspects of everyone's lives in a big way at the time. The Second World War caused people to crave happy, joyful entertainment. Hollywood responded by making tons and tons of musicals. Thus, actors performed acrobatic tap dancing on lavish music sets, and Broadway tap was born. Most of the famous tap dancers of this time were white, except for Bill Bojangles Robinson, who we discussed earlier, the most daring and talented famous black tapper. As time passed, tap began to lose its popularity. In the 50s, music styles were changing and movies were starting to include more ballet than tap dancing. You could still find tap dancing in some social clubs, and some people still tapped for fun as a social dance. And there were still performers who were committed to tap, such as Gene Kelly, who actually incorporated ballet and modern dance into his tapping style. But nonetheless, tap was dwindling, and it continued to dwindle into the 60s and 70s. But then, something exciting happened. A man named Gregory Hines rose up and brought back rhythmic tapping. He had a TV show in the 80s for a while, and it increased tap's popularity. I would imagine that having a TV show in the 80s would have been a pretty big thing because by that time television was becoming more popular, but people didn't have hundreds and hundreds of channels yet. So if you had a show, I would think that people were watching it. If any of you are getting bored with my long history of tap dancing, take heart, we are getting closer and closer to present day. Gregory Hines taught Savion Glover how to dance, and Savion is one of today's most popular tap dancers. He has his own dance troupe and could be deemed the leader of today's generation of tappers. As most all tap legends have had, Savion has a unique style. It is rhythmic and brings in a hip-hop and funk feel. Some people call it power tapping. And it is unique because of dense, hard-hitting rhythms it creates. Because of its masculine nature, Savion's style is dominated by men. Power tapping is used in the popular and famous Broadway dance drama called Bring Into Noise, Bring Into Funk, a hip-hop discourse on the staying power of the beat, which was produced by Savion Glover himself, along with George Wolfe. Today, tap is not dominated by only one race or gender. It is a varied and dynamic style of dance, and it's not dominated only by men. As you may have noted, tap has been historically practiced predominantly by men. This phenomenon is not unique to tap though. as men have been prominent in many areas of life throughout history. Entertainment, politics, sports. So tap basically followed suit. Tap is still heavily used in Broadway, but entertainment is not the only use of tap dancing. Many see it as a form of art with which you can enjoy taking part in to express your individual style. You will find tap dancing today being offered at many local neighborhood dance studios. Young children have shown great interest in tap dancing, likely due to the fact that it's really fun and no one can get you in trouble for making lots of noise while you're doing it. Thank you for watching my probably a little bit too long video on tap dancing, where it came from and where it is now.